Hey guys, I'm also for Cosplay and I'm going to show you some of my favorite quality of life crafting tips that I've learned over the last 7 years.
First up is how I store all of my varying grids of sandpaper to make life a whole lot easier when I know what grid I need. I actually use an accordion style file organizer. I'm able to separate them all into different grids and find what I need really easy, and it also stores a lot easier. This next tip is for cleaning off permanent marker or non-acrylic paints, basically things that won't wash off with regular soap and water. I like to use nail polish remover. It contains acetone, however is far more easily accessible from your local supermarket and does a really good job of cleaning off those hard to clean off paints and textures and things. A lot of cosplayers are probably super familiar with this happening when you're trying to heat seal or trying to paint really fine details and they just won't stay still. This tip I actually got taught by Maruna Cosplay. I'll leave her link down below in the description box. You get a piece of masking tape, fold it in half and stick it down, and then stick your small details to the masking tape, and now they'll stay in place while you heat them up or paint them. This next tip I find really handy for masking while I paint. Masking in a curve is very difficult with generic thick masking tape, so I like to use quilter's tape, also known as pinstripe tape. It has a tiny bit of flex, and because it's thin, it's able to turn corners. A really good purchase if you're into airbrushing and you like clear coating but you struggle to be able to clear coat a whole piece in one session because you can't touch it. I actually buy Lazy Susans. They're designed for condiments on a kitchen table, however I find them really handy for putting a model on top of if I want to paint it and not have to touch it. So this tip is an obvious yet not so obvious tip. I've been using supermarket disposable gloves for years without thinking to buy gloves in the right size. I would Plastidip, and Plastidip would build up on the tip and then spray everywhere. So I started buying gloves that actually fit my hands. So these are a size small, I buy them off Amazon. And I find having a glove that fits gives me back my fine motor skills, and I'm able to spray paint and work on things without build up on the tip of my glove. Recently for mannequins, I've noticed that the bust is very different from my bust. As you can see, it's kind of flat, not very shapely, and you can't really change the bust size super easy on these mannequins. So what I do is I actually put a bra on the mannequin, and if that's not enough, you're able to pack the bra to more mimic your bust size. Every framesmith has encountered contact adhesive that no longer opens. What I usually do is I keep a vise on my table, and when I can't get the lid off anymore, I lock it into the vise. I'm able to get a whole lot more body weight behind the twist, and then the lid comes off. If you're like me and you suck filling up those tiny squeeze bottles, what I like to do is I keep a larger squeeze bottle on hand, which has a much easier to pour into opening. I fill that up with a small amount of contact cement, and then use that to transfer to the smaller bottle. It also makes it faster to refill it when I run out. A common practice in foam smithing is using foam scraps to spread out contact cement. This often leaves a really messy result and can mess up some seams. Also makes your general work area kind of messy. For a while I've been using these silly brushes. They are just spreading brushes made out of silicone, so glue peels right off when it dries. People have also been using silicone makeup brushes recently, which can be found really cheap on Amazon. We all know you can mask for paint, but did you know you can also mask for glue? We know contact cement only needs to go where it's going to be glued together, so to keep your edges clean and to stop overspill, just put down a small amount of masking tape and your edges will be perfect. Pouring paints from awkward bottles can sometimes be really difficult. I recently learned this trick from Zephyr Studios. I'll leave his link down below in the description. These are plastic pipettes. They're very affordable and they make transferring fluids around a whole lot cleaner. They're also really handy for these giant Createx bottles. This next handy purchase is actually a tattoo squeeze bottle. A lot of tattoo artists use them to wipe down tattoos while they work. They can be squeezed and held upright, which makes rinsing your airbrushes a lot easier. So rotary tools, especially the Dremels, are kind of large and heavy, and after long periods of time you end up with a sore wrist. I like to use a flex shaft on mine. It extends the reach, lets you have more control over the Dremel head, and also is a lot lighter so you don't end up with a sore wrist so soon. It can also keep dust away from the main body of your Dremel, helping your Dremel have a longer life. When I'm deep in the cosplay zone, I often forget that my Dremel exists and it finds its way off the edge of my table. To combat this, I buy telescopic arms. They clamp onto the side of my desk, they hold the Dremel in place so I don't have to worry about it falling off, and they're also super affordable.
Hopefully you get at least one useful tip out of this video. If you can think of any more that I haven't shown, comment them down below and I might put them in the next video. Quality of life cosplay tips that I've learned. For cosplay, and I'm going to show you some of the life cosplay tips that I've learned over the
That was good.
for cosplay, and I'm going to
Hold on.
oh